Okay, so I'm back at it, doing the passenger side door panel right now. Trying to get that all hooked up and installed somewhere along the line here. At any rate, the reels that I bought, the aftermarket reels that I bought, worked out pretty good. The only thing I had to do was it comes with I thought these latches were going to be universal. But there's a difference, obviously, in these catches relative to the, in other words, they're shorter, so they don't latch into the Camaro pocket. So I had to switch out the Camaro built catch over here, and so that all works very, very well. This is the El Camino trim panel here that I have it fished through, but I was able to, there's a little, let me see if I get some light on here. Anyways, I was able to get that slide guide right there for the belt looped in where the original went, and then down here I've got the belt recoil mechanism bolted into the original location where the El Camino stuff was. So that's the configuration that was designed for this car, which makes me comfortable. I like that, and the fact that it all reaches and it all works well is pretty neat. Anyway, that's where I am with that, and so I'll just get moving on with these door panels and keep going. All right, after a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth, that's side number 2 done. That pretty much officially ends most of my upholstery work. I still have to do the headliner and the dashboard, but that's the craziest part. And this is side 2 belt right here, passenger belt. That's in place. That all works fine. It's mounted up. Anyways, yeah, gotta figure out what I want to do next now. I've been so involved with this for a couple of weeks here now that I haven't got my head screwed on for anything else yet. So we'll see what's next. I think I gotta figure out where I'm gonna mount my speakers back here on the side so they don't get wrecked if I throw some garbage back there, try to stow stuff behind the seat. Anyway, we'll see what's next. All right, after a little bit of twizzling around with that door panel over there, couple of little final adjustments on that, I'm going to take a break from the interior of this car. I was going to do the speaker mounts for the rear, but I think I'm going to wait until I get the wiring harness in this car, which means after paint. That way I'll know exactly where all the plugs lay out, and then I'll know exactly the location of everything. I think there's like 6 speakers, including the 2 door speakers. I had a suggestion from a viewer about, using some shallow speakers. The actual depth is only about 1 inch to the door panel right there, so even shallow speakers wouldn't work inset into the door. Again, I think I'm going to wait until I get the door, the window inside the door, which will be after the car is painted. And then I can see where all the tracking goes. I might be able to clear that out a little bit down there and put the shallow speakers in. They're like about 2 1/3 inches deep from the face, and I'd like to get it behind the door panel because the 6-inch speaker is bigger than that actual opening is right there. So rather than build a box out there, who knows, I might end up having to do some kick panel speakers, but that's always going to be a problem over here with your emergency brake and all the good stuff over here. So I'd rather put them in the doors where they were intended and where the wiring goes, but we'll see how that goes, and I think that can be addressed later. So I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on the tonneau cover, which is a pretty big operation, and includes this molding here. I'll be cutting this molding, and this molding will be going up and down with the tonneau cover, so it has a finished edge that actually comes out so that water would roll off and then head down and out. Of course, it crosses over here, so I'll have to have channeling where this whole thing lands, so water rolling into this area here and off into this area goes into a channel, and that would go around and end up going out in this area here. This will get drilled out in this area here, which will lead it to the outside of the car. this is kind of what's going to happen as a receiving channel right here. Of course, I'll have to make it in 2 pieces because it has to go around the curves. So if I make a Z channel like this, I'm not going to be able to shape it. There's very few straight spots on this bed, so there's even a gentle curve in this area that appears to be straight over here behind the wheel tub. So at any rate, this will sit down right here about 1 inch and 3/16 down from this top edge over here, and then there'll be a 1 inch by 1 inch frame that comes and engages this rubber molding here that presses on in a vertical right here. And hopefully I can make one continuous loop around to put a seal on the entire thing, and hopefully the water will go into this little rain channel here if it does get past anything here. It'll definitely get past it on this side because this rim will stop right about here, but any rainwater going in this area will go into this channel as it goes around all the way around in here as it diverges from there. This from here up will be permanently attached to the car as was designed. But anybody who's wondering why I'm going to mess up this beautiful stainless steel trim, it's not. It's pretty boofed up, and so I could probably sit here for hours and hours and hours and try to tippy tap the stainless steel out and get it all fixed up real nicey nice. But I'm just going to scuff it, and I'm going to mud it after I get the big gallywumpuses out of the thing, and then I'm just going to use it for what I need it to be as a perimeter overhang. You can see I got some pretty big dents in here, and what I'm doing now is I'm having to create small temporary special jigs to get up inside of this around all these details to try to bop out some of this stuff. You see I got a pretty big one right there. I've got the biggest ones out. You can see it's got a little bit of a whip there. I'm going to straighten that out. At any rate, that's what I'm going to get on now. In the process of doing that, naturally I wanted to use all the good stuff that's already on the car. And these corners are pretty nice, but if you'll take a look at them, they don't exactly follow the curvature of the tailgate. Anyway, so I'm gonna have to make these corners and have so that they'll flow into the piece of channel here. I'll make them out of it doesn't matter anyway. These are cast, and I wouldn't be able to weld them up to the stainless steel here. So I've got a stainless steel piece here and here. In order to make this a continuous rim, I'm gonna have to remake these corners. It'll be a little bit of a challenge, but at least I got a master to start with, which is this piece. At any rate, that's where I'm headed. Okay, so what I've determined at this point is this line right here is the bottom of where this this track has got to go that I've come to mock up over here in order for, we're going to have a 1 inch perimeter piece here, and on top of that there'll be a piece of 3/16 plastic to finish it out like that. Of course, this will be inset quite a bit. It'll probably be inset about that far. That's the 1 inch frame, I should say. And so I'd go around and basically use this flexible straight edge, which is nothing more than some steel banding that comes on pallets. I don't know if you even get this on pallets anymore. It's usually plastic banding, but it's like a white metal. It's really good, holds its edge as far as straightness in this direction. And you can wrap around curves and it'll give you an accurate straight line. As you can see, I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna handle this. As you can see, I've marked the point over there where, let's see if I zoom in a little bit, where it starts to diverge from a pretty straight line over here. And it starts to go uphill. And you see that blue line right there is how it's going uphill. And I got to figure out whether or not I want to follow that 100% or whether I want to tip it over a little bit, which complicates the upper cover a little bit. If there's a kink, it's not a, if it's a slight barrel shape all the way through, not too bad. But I have to deal with, how it's going to interface with the window when it lifts up so I don't bust my window. So I've got some issues here to just determine how I want to run this part of the cover. And I might just start with my tracking from here on back on both sides, and then start mocking up my my bed frame, or excuse my bed cover frame, and see how that all actually looks in real life, to see what the real issues are. Anyway, that's where I'm at with that. All right, so I've been working on building this internal rim for the tonneau cover to sit down on. One of the first things I had to do, I had to stop and do once I got going with that, I realized I needed to do was I needed to take and add this lip here. As you can see over here, this is the stock lip, and as you remember, I narrowed this whole tailgate up, including this part of it, which closes against that rim. So there's a rubber seal that goes onto this rim here, and I got it backwards there. Goes onto this seal here to seal up the trunk lid, or excuse me, the tailgate. I keep calling it a trunk lid, and that closes against there nicely now. So I got to do the same thing on the other side, but what I'm in the middle of doing right now is this rim had to be put together obviously in two pieces because it had to be shaped, and if I made it a Z channel, as I described before, that it wouldn't work. So I've got it all primed, and I'm getting ready to reassemble it, and then to plug weld it together to create my channel, and I'll reinstall it on the car over here. Anyway, I'll show you that when that's done. All right, so I'm getting ready to weld this piece on here. As you can see, it's going to have to be sealed up right in here, and also against the inner side, because it's made out of two pieces, and I just plug welded it. So it'll have to get where these two pieces come together here, will have to be sealed up. Also, I'm going to put a small dam right here, and I have to drill through this side here in order to create an outlet for the water to come out and then drop down and out of the car, anything that gets into this channel. And this is going to go around the entire perimeter. And this is this is kind of a generic seal that I've got. You can see it's got it done. I don't know if this thing's going to do me the favor of focusing in or not, but anyway, this is going to have a couple of seals on the top, as you can see, as it squeezes down. Hopefully that'll be enough. It'll be on here like this, and then the frame will come down here like this and sit on it. Hopefully that'll seal up nicely. Any water that gets by goes into the channel. On top of that will be the 3/16 ABS plastic, like that, to create the top of the tonneau cover. And then the edge molding here. That goes on here, and hopefully the whole thing is shut down and locked. Looks something like that. We'll see how it goes. I've got to do the other side. Lots of monotonous cutting and bending. So I've got to get over to the other side and mash on. Okay, so this is the design I've come up with. I thought I'd show you a little cross section. There's this rubber bead underneath on this vertical leg of this rain gutter. The rain gutter will all be sealed on the inner edges over here, so any water that gets past, which water will get past up here, because from here back is where this piece will be on permanently to the bed cover, and then it'll open up right at this joint right here. There's no easy way to make this transition, so I've just accepted that the water will bypass at the front edge over here. And the reason that I am putting this on to the bed cover and not leaving the whole thing on is because this will create a situation where when you come around the corner here, you won't have to have a split in this cover. So the water getting in way up there should be not a problem, because it'll all be confined to the gutter and then run around and out through here. If I put this on permanently to the bed all the way around like it's designed, what happens is I've got a split here in the trim for the tailgate. And in that split, there's no effective way to keep water from coming in to the inside of the bed and wetting the floor in this general area over here. I mean, it's a lot of work to go through just to keep that dry, but that's something I want to try and do. So when this wraps around and it's solid and it moves with the tonneau cover, what happens is that any water on the surface here will run off to the outside over this rim here on the outside of the body. And hopefully this rubber seal here will keep the rest of the water out, but it'll be dammed up over here so that any water getting in around the front section over here will be in the gutter, hopefully, and go around to the end here and end up going out at the back. So that's what I've been trying to come up with, you know, a good way. Some of the better bed covers pretty much do the same thing. They come to the outside, but then they're quite bulky on the outside here, so they look like a big padded bed top, and I didn't like the way they looked. And plus they're pretty pricey. They're about, I guess, about $1,500 for the cover, I guess. Wanted to see if I couldn't do it myself, and like everything else, it's a lot of work. So anyway, I'll just keep on keeping on. Okay, so while I'm waiting for this these two pieces of rain gutter to dry, just primed them up with the weld-through primer. And for that side over there, I'm starting to go around the curve here with the first bed. The way I established that was this actually goes uphill, this one here, but it follows the top rim straight to this point here. It's a point of divergence. So from that point on, I measured to the bottom of the, you can see there's a line right there where this goes. And I cut this block so they can go all the way around, sitting it right on top of the bed right here, and slowly but surely go around and mark it so that this ends up right on that line. And I've got these pieces of bent aluminum just temporarily stuck to the bed so that it holds it in place while I drill and screw it. And it's attached over here with a clamp. Make sure it doesn't move around, scoot around, and we maintain our curve. So that's the first part of that. Second part, of course, is this return lip that has to be made, and of course the other side. Anyway, that's where I'm at. Well, this couple of weeks has proved to be not that productive based on the fact that I've had a lot of distractions. One of them has been that I've got a lot of stuff that I've accumulated over the last couple of years, a bunch of different parts from a bunch of different projects left over. I've been trying to get rid of them, sell them on Facebook Marketplace. Anybody who's ever dealt with anybody on Facebook Marketplace knows what that's all about. They're either no-shows or tire kickers, or they're lowballers, or they're just very silly people sometimes. Anyway, sometimes you just got to grin and bear it. But the other distraction is, I got thinking about it a little while ago, that my tires on my Dodge Daytona, they're about, I was thinking they were 9 years old, but then I started looking at the production code. These were made in 2014, these tires, even though they've only got 4,000 miles on them. That's 11-year-old tires. So what I went ahead and did was I decided I wanted to try a different wheel. So I went ahead and I changed the wheels, and I'll show you what they look like. All right, so while I was building Randy's Hellcat Daytona, I kind of fell in love with the wheels that were on that car that came on the Hellcat. Usually you see them in black, but these were silver, and so I decided to get a pair or set of basically they're knockoffs. They're not actual Chrysler wheels, but this is what I'm changed over to here, and I really like the choice. It changes the whole look of the car, takes the focus off the wheels to a large degree, which a lot of people, make comments about those 5 spokes. They just seemed a whole lot bigger than they actually were. They're the same size as these, but they seem so much more prominent. These seem to tuck under the car just a little. They don't tuck under the car. They just appear to tuck under the car because of their design. One of the things that I did that when I first got them, they just seemed too silvery once I mounted them on the car. So I got a piece of black felt and I laid it on the inside of the back to knock down some of the color. And once I saw that that was going to work, I went ahead and I taped it all out, and I painted this all out black on the inside, and that kind of helped to highlight the wheels a little bit better, set them off a little bit better because they were kind of a blur of silver. But one of the other things I did was, for years, I had the stock Nivo mats, which are load levelers that came with the SR-T8s, and the police pursuit chargers for years. And what happens with those is they don't allow you to put any drop springs. I put drop springs in the front, but they don't allow you to put drop springs in the back because they are load levelers. They are the spring. They'll pick the whole and back end of the car up. So I took those out, and they actually have a replacement. Now Bilstein provides for a nice replacement, and it dropped the car about maybe half an inch, but it changed the whole rake of the car. It's kind of hard to see here in the garage, but it's a vast improvement on that. But I had to make several I brought the wheels and tires, had them mounted, but I unfortunately bought some those tire pressure monitors on the internet, and they were Mopar and all this other stuff, and guess what? They were all bad. They were all over the map as far as what they were reading, and one was reading super low on tire pressure, so it was screwing up my dashboard. Alarm bells were going off because of low tire pressure and all this other stuff. So I had to take the car back this morning and sit in the tire store for a couple hours while I dismounted the tires to a certain extent to put in new tire pressure monitors, and everything's up to snuff again. So that's kind of what's been distracting me. A little of this, a little of that. There's other things that I won't go into that have nothing to do with cars, but trying to straighten a few things out with this car. I might have a clue as to what might be the issue of my dome lights don't work. They stopped working probably a couple years into having this car done up like this, and I thought maybe it was something in the wiring, but you know, when you open the door on the dashboard, it shows the door's open, and if you put your hand, there's a manual switch on the dome lights. If you push them, they come on. So there's power to the lights, and the switch is activating the circuit just right. And come to find out, through my mechanic and Jeff Threadgill, put me on to a possibility that one of the problems might be the cluster. That the signal comes from the cluster, and if the cluster's going bad, then it's possible that it's feeding to the light switch, which is something else I tried changing out, didn't work, for the dome lights to come on. Well, I ordered a new cluster, and I gotta see. It's not a new one; it's a used one. So I've got to, as soon as it gets here, I got to send it out to have the odometer corrected to what this one is reading, and then hopefully if I put in a new cluster, that'll fix that. Just little knickknacks I've never gotten around to finishing up, and you know how annoying that is. It's just hanging over your head, and I've been trying to hit it a little at a time, but sometimes it takes a day or two out of my schedule. Anyway, long rambling speech. Thought you'd like to know. Okay, so this is what the water rain gutter is looking like around the entire perimeter of the inside of the bed here. Hopefully, if this works out right, the front of the bed won't seal up to the body itself, but any water that gets up into this area here will hopefully go down into the rain gutter once it gets by the lid edge. And then from here back, this will be following the lid up in the air, but this overlaps to where any water on the lid will come over and drop down off the side of the car, hopefully, if everything works out fine. Also in here, I've got this same bead here, kind of creating a finished edge on this. It's the pinch weld. I've cut the pinch weld down to the point where it'll accept this rubber bead, so that when this drops down, it'll drop down on that rubber bead like that, and that'll finish that out somewhat, so when it's open it doesn't have this rough looking edge here, and I don't have to bondo and do a bunch of stuff to make it look good, and it'll be something soft to protect the paint. Anyway, that's what that's looking like right there. Anyway, it's back on there. So we're all the way around the perimeter. I took a lot backing and forth, and because I couldn't just, like I said before, make a simple Z channel, which is what it ended up being. In other words, there's a flange on the bottom here, then it comes across and then back up for this to push down onto. I had to do it in 2 L channels in order for me to be able to shape it, to take in the curves all the way around here and get it tight. And then once I got the 2 pieces made, and I had to take them back apart, which I had them screwed together temporarily and screwed to the car temporarily, take them back apart, drill more holes for rosette welding, so I could rosette both pieces together, and then screw it back to the car, again with more holes for rosette welding. Put the rosette welds in, and then take all the screws out and weld up all the screw holes. So it was quite a tedious task, and so it's done now. And what I have to do next is build the actual frame for the cover. And before I do that, though, this is where the hinges obviously are going to go in the front, and I have to make up a mock-up piece with the hinges and see how all that's going to work, how high up the cover is going to be able to come before it either looks too wide at the front here or it hits the back window. Now this back window, unfortunately, is going to have to get gone. I'm going to have to get a new one, even though it's intact. When I first cleaned this car up, there's ghosts of some vinyl lettering that I had across this back window at one time, and you know, and it's sun baked in. The Alabama sun baked that into where if you're standing back a little bit, you could see the lettering across here. So this is going to have to go. Unfortunately, they put this in with urethane, and man, I'm gonna tell you, especially with these tight corners here, it's absolutely impossible to cut this out. So I'm gonna have to tape this up, and I'm gonna have to break it to get it out. But right now it serves a good purpose because it's going to show me exactly how this tonneau cover, when it comes up, it's going to interfere with this glass, and I'm not sacrificing the finished glass in this area. So that's where I'm at, and that's where I'm going to leave it for this week. I appreciate everybody for watching, and I will see you on the next one.